I'm impressed by how interested the kids were. They stayed with it, they were focused, they were interested in this real person, and I think the fact that it is a real person, just like when you watch a movie and it's about a real person, it adds another layer to it. I think it's sometimes very abstract when you are just talking about these issues, and I think it can be really threatening when you're talking about necessarily what's going on right now. Whereas when you're talking about a book like that, it's a safe forum to talk about it, and to talk about what our values are, what we would do in those situations, how we would handle it if something like that happened to us. We do have conversations about these issues quite often. However, I think it makes it more concrete to be able to talk about how we treat people, how we handle it when other people treat us badly. All those different conversations become more concrete when you're talking about a specific person versus talking about it in the abstract. Yeah, I had heard about him because my family went to the same campus, and I've done some research into that myself, and so I heard about what he did and how he stood up there. It was interesting to read about with my kids. I think that one for my older kids hit a little bit more because as we're reading about people being unkind to Japanese Americans, there's that question of why would people be against someone like me? Another thing that was really interesting for me was to see these illustrations of these places that I've read about, like Heart Mountain in the background of the illustrations, and I've heard about how unique that mountain looked and how they would just stare at it, while they were in camp. It was always looming over them. Yeah, I think my 5-year-old, what he got from it was something much simpler than what my 9-year-old got from it. I think it's the kind of book that my 9-year-old would read on her own, and kind of process on her own, and then come to ask me questions. I think for my 5-year-old, it's something I'd read holding him, and then, I'd be the one asking questions, and then as they grow, it kind of shifts that way. I think it's important for our children to be exposed to stories about different viewpoints, about different kinds of people repeatedly throughout life. And I think one of the best ways that you can put yourselves in the shoes of another person is to read a story from their perspective, because you're actually able to be in their thought process and live it vicariously. And so I think being able to read something like this more than once, and several different books, a whole collection of them, that's really good for helping kids gain compassion and empathy and the ability to see the world from a perspective broader than their own. And I think it's something that parents need to seek out, and it takes some work to put together a library of books that can help your child have compassion for many different kinds of people, but it's worth doing.